Hi friends, welcome back to my lockdown diaries. This is Shashwat here. These diaries are meant to be my repositories of thought and experiences as we go through these quarantine days. So today is Wednesday the 13th, and I thought let's do something different today. And in fact, there's a in all this gloomy atmosphere, there's a bit of a positive news that has come in. So I thought let me just devote some time on that news today. So today I'm going to talk about carbon emissions, and not just anybody's carbon emissions but India's carbon emissions. For the past quite a few days, ever since lockdown has been enforced, mostly all of us have noticed the transition that has happened outside our homes. While inside we are cooped up, the nature outside is blossoming. The air is clearer than ever before. You can almost see many cities are seeing the Himalayas, the peaks of Himalayas from their homes. Animals are venturing into our cities, checking upon us, and the water is clearer. The dolphins are coming back in Ganges. So you have all these indicators that things are getting better in terms of environmental, from an environmental purview. But the best indicator of that shift has been, there's a report that has come out yesterday which stated that India's CO2 emissions on a year-on-year basis fell by almost 1% in this 2019 fiscal year 2019, which is the first time in 4 decades. Now, India accounts for almost 3 gigatons of CO2 emissions. There was a fall of around 30 million tons of CO2 emissions. Now you might wonder, why is it so important? What's so big deal about it? The fact of the matter is, India is one of the largest CO2 emitters in the globe. India's role in combating the climate change is very, very critical. India accounts for almost 7% of all the CO2 emissions. India is also the 4th largest emitter of CO2 around the world, and a major part of that comes from our dependence on coal for energy. This is what has been one of the most critical factors in bringing our performance down in climate, our role in the climate change front. Now if you look at the whole deal, you might think that this whole shift in the fall in the carbon emission has been prompted by the pandemic, and how because everything we are shut down and there's no cars moving out there's nothing much industrial action happening. That has been that has been the main factor. But let me just point out to you, that is one of the factors, not the only factor. Over the whole year of 2019, India has been doing pretty well in terms of the fall in the CO2 emissions. It has been because of an economic slowdown, which has been India's economy has not been working that as great as it was in the past couple of years. This has been also there's also been a whole renewed push on renewable energy by the government. So the factors that have helped this fall in emissions are, you can say the economic slowdown is one of the factors. The renewable push for renewable energy has been the second biggest factor, and finally the COVID-19, of course. In the month of March, the emissions, according to the CO2 emissions, fell by as much as 15%, and by estimates by Carbon Brief, the analysts at Carbon Brief, they are estimating that they will fall by some 30% in the month of April. Now that's significant. All these things point to a very major trend that we are seeing all across the world right now. Because of this pandemic and the economic stoppage and the curtailment of transport, the stoppage of all the industrial activity, there has been a significant fall in CO2 emissions across the globe. Now, how can we utilize this when the economies come back? We should not get back to things normal as they were before. What we can do is something called as a new normal, something where we can make build upon on the gains that we have had in this period and change our economies the way they are. The government for its part, at least on the renewable front, has been making some significant efforts. They launched the International Solar Alliance, which was Prime Minister Modi launched that. It was launched with France, and there were 121 countries who signed up for this alliance, where they would be sharing lot of information, lot of technology, and he termed all the countries to be the Surya Putras, terming them as Surya Putras because of the solar thing. There has been a significant push on the solar front as well. There has always also been the whole push towards solar energy, usage of solar energy. In fact, the rates of solar energy in India have fallen to such a level. They were I remember some of the last bids that were there, they were around 2.5 rupees per watt. Compare it with coal and all, that's around 3.5 to 4 rupees. So that's the kind of the installed base that has been there. We have some of the largest solar plants in the world. We are experimenting a lot on that front. So given that factor, there has been a tremendous progress we have done on solar front. What we really need to do is reduce our dependency on coal, and it's not that easy, let me be honest with you. The reason that is so is because India is the second largest producer of coal in the world, just behind China, of course. Traditionally, the electricity, the power supply that has been built upon on coal itself. Almost till some years back, it was 75% of all electricity generated was coal. It has reduced to somewhere around 67%. And why this is significant? Because the power industry accounts for as much as 50% of all the CO2 emissions in India. So the irony of fact is such that even if you were to drive a electric car in India, and if you were to charge it from the plug point in your home or in your garage, you would be emitting almost as much as CO2 as a normal petrol car would be doing, just because you would be replacing the petrol CO2 with the coal based CO2. So those are the kind of things that have been done. So to get to that, to get to a very greener future, we need to really completely curtail our dependency on coal. And the reasons are also different. So I'll give you an example. When we talk about CO2 emissions, let's talk about let me give you a comparative analysis of just a brief comparative of the kind of emissions every unit power per watt unit hour of power has from different sources. So if you take it from nuclear produces almost 4 grams of CO2 per watt. You have solar, which is around 6 grams. You have wind, which is again around 4 grams. Coal with in tune with CCS, that's carbon capture and storage, it's around 110 grams. And you have gas, which is 78 grams. You have hydro, which is 97 grams. So if you compare from a renewable or from a green future, there is no option but for wind, solar and nuclear. Nuclear is a very controversial topic, because whenever anyone talks about nuclear power plants, and we all talk about the kind of the nuclear waste, the kind of issues that nuclear waste will create, and what are the difficulties that we have. But beyond that also, we need to understand that there's not much option we have. Wind and solar, they can't generate power throughout the day. We can't depend on them completely. So to offset that, the variability in power generation, we need something which is non-renewable in nature, and that could come from either nuclear. Right now it's coal, but over a period of time, nuclear could be one of our factors that can play a role. And India has been doing that thing. India, we signed the Paris Treaty, we signed the Paris Agreement, and India committed to the NDCs, the nationally determined commitments that were there, the NDCs. So what were the 3 things that we did? First thing we committed to was reduce in our carbon intensity of our GDP from 30 to 35%. from the 2005 levels by 2030. So that was a significant. Our carbon intensity is one of the highest. The carbon intensity, what I mean is, for every watt of usage, the kind of productivity that we have. So we really need to reduce that thing. The other factor that we committed was planting forests, lot of forests that will suck up the carbon from the air, around 2.5 billion gigatons. That's what we have committed. The third important factor that we made was 40% of our electricity will be generated through renewable sources. That's again wind and all. So India has done significantly well on that basis. In fact, last year there was this report that of all the countries that were set to meet their goals in terms of their commitments to the Paris Treaty, India was one of the few countries that was doing well, not only well to meet its target, but to meet its target even before time. So India has done significantly well on that sector, and I think so this opportunity that we have right now, this window that has opened up, this thing that has opened up, thanks to whatever in terms of the cleaner air that we have, the reduction in our carbon emissions, we should be thinking of ways to build upon it. And there has already been some movement on that front. The government has already spoken about how they are going to encourage renewable energy in the future. The power sector in India is already in distress, and they will need bailout packages. I'm sure when the announcements come through for all these, the 20 lakh crore bailout package that is there, and whatever there is there in it for the power sector, I'm hoping that this will be paving the way for a renewable future. In fact, yesterday, if you heard the talk by the Prime Minister, he was talking about how we need to completely realign our systems and processes towards a future that is much more greener, much more inclusive, and much more progressive in terms of economy. A future that is there in this front can really do us wonders. And let me be honest with you, the reason why the coal production, the power generation from coal has fallen is because running coal power thermal plants is very difficult. You need to buy coal, you need to transport coal, you need people, you need everything there, right? You need to, for generating that power, you need those inputs in land, labor cost. But compare it with wind or solar. You have those plants ready, irrespective of a lockdown or a pandemic or anything. Those plants will be generating power through and through. So that has been one of the good pieces out there. I'm hoping that continues to be so, and I'm hoping that these emissions that have fallen first time since 1982 continue to be so. If you compare, to give you a comparative analysis, the highest increase in carbon emissions from India was in the year 2014, where we added almost 150 million tons of carbon in the air. This was because of the economic activity and a whole lot of things that have happened. This is the first time, just in a matter of 2014 to 2019, in a matter of 5 years, there has been a shift. Let's build upon that. Finally, to give you an interesting note, there's a very interesting app available on App Store. I'm sure it must be there on the Apple Store as well. I'm talking about Play Store because I'm an Android guy. I completely abhor Apple stuff. So on the Play Store, there's an app called as Electricity Map. So what it does, it gives you a complete map-wise indicator of what is the energy consumption being done by various countries, various regions. In India there are various regions. They give you an idea of the carbon intensity. How is the electricity that is being generated? What is the what is the basis of it? Is it coal based? Is it hydro? Is it solar and all? So interestingly today, and after a long time I was seeing this, Punjab was the greenest in India, and I'm talking only about today. The carbon intensity was around 37 grams, and this was largely because of the hydropower and the solar power that they had. Compare it with something like UP. Uttar Pradesh had 661 grams carbon intensity per watt of electricity that was generated. Karnataka had around 473, Andhra Pradesh had around 500, 565 something. So yeah, so this is a very interesting app. In India, right now you are only seeing some states. Karnataka at some times is a leader in terms of green when it reduces its carbon intensity. Punjab was a surprise thing. UP is perennially in the dark thanks to the coal powered plants. Now compare this thing with globally. So you had France today. The power intensity was around 55 grams. That's largely because of its nuclear power. You know, as I said, nuclear power has one of the lowest carbon intensities. You had Sweden, which was 46 grams. You had Britain, which was 191 grams, and you had US, which is 378 grams. So you know that is the perspective of India. I'm just hoping that we are able to build upon this gain, and we are able to create a greener future for us and for all our kids and grandkids that are gonna come. So on that note, on that hope and on that hope and happiness, let me take your leave today. I'll catch you again soon. Till then, stay inside, stay safe, and don't forget to wash your hands.